Amidst a growing crime wave in our state, California liberal politicians are now passing legislation to blame you, the crime victim. Coming up, I'll tell you what insane proposal they have, why they continue to shield criminals from prosecution and punishment, and what we're doing to fight back. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and is there any doubt we are in the middle of a massive crime wave? Not only a crime wave that deals with smash and grabs and retail theft, but we also have violent crimes on the rise as well. Nationwide, the FBI crime stats show either a plateau or declining criminal activity across the country. But the state of California for the past 4 years has been an outlier. Our criminal activity, our violent crime, and our property crimes have been steadily going higher and higher. One thing you need to know about the property crime rates, they were up by about 7% statewide last year. In some cities, they were up by double digits. In the Oakland and Bay Area, San Francisco area, they're up by 20 to 30%. But those stats are actually underreporting the true nature of property crime. Many people no longer report criminal activity and property crimes like petty theft or organized theft. In fact, many of the main retailers have decided not to report to police because they know no one's going to get punished. It's simply going to be a waste of staff time. So just simply grin and bear it, suck it up, and lock up the cases, lock up the products, put extra security at the front door, raise the prices, pass all those theft costs onto you and me. And so the 7% statewide number is bogus. It is much, much higher because, as I just mentioned, the major retail chains in California have made it a policy, all of them, not to report most of the retail theft that goes on in their store. It's just a waste of time and resource. The violent crime rate also continues to go up in the state of California, up 19% since the last 3 years. And so we are seeing a major, major spike in all sorts of criminal activity. What's driving it? There are 3 things driving it. We've covered it on this podcast before. Number one is we're no longer arresting and prosecuting and punishing criminals. Prop 47 took those tools away from police and prosecutors. That's why at Reform California, we are backing a ballot measure, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in just a moment, to repeal Prop 47 and give the tools back to police and prosecutors in California to do their job, to get these criminals off the street and to punish them. Second, Prop 57 and AB 109. These are 2 separate pieces of legislation that allow for early release of felons, dangerous felons from prison. Governor Gavin Newsom has released over 100,000 criminals in the past 6 years that he's been in office. And so we are seeing a lot of these criminals not doing their time, then they're back out on the street to reoffend. And then third, we do have shortages in police staffing because of the disparaging way that California liberal Democrats have treated police officers. Nobody wants to be a police officer in this state anymore. They'll go to other jurisdictions in other states. In fact, I hear from police chiefs all the time. They say, thanks, Carl. Your politicians, your liberal politicians in California, they're sending us your best and brightest police recruits. You train them. We then get the benefit of all that training because they move to our state. It's just insane, the staffing shortages we have in our public safety functions, sheriff departments and police departments. So those are the 3 reasons why we're seeing a rise in crime in California, unlike where we're seeing it in the rest of the country. But the latest legislation only adds insult to the injury. Here's the story in Cal Matters. Democrat progressives say services, not penalties, will cut crime. Oh, hold on. So you're telling me more welfare, more government programs, that's the way to cut crime? Bitch, please. In California, we already give the most generous services, the most generous welfare programs, the most generous entitlement programs and support programs, and all the programs you can imagine. We give more of that than any state in the country. Our politicians are spending money on social service programs like drunken sailors. I am so sorry to insult drunken sailors. Yet we have crime going up in California. There is no correlation to freebies and giveaways and reducing crime. There is probably a correlation to giveaways and an entitlement mentality where people say, well, I'm entitled to everything. So if you're entitled to generous government welfare programs with no strings attached, no accountability, then you probably start developing an attitude that I'm also entitled to take things from private sector small businesses. This is insanity. These people have absolutely crapped the sheets when it comes to their failed programs. And yet they continue to say, oh, we've got another idea. What you need to do is do more of our failed programs and then cha-ching, then we'll get you a good result. No. So here are the Democrats saying that instead of punishing the criminals, we should be giving out more services to the criminals. Now, the way this is spun is that they're going to offer services to offenders and crime victims. Look, crime victims are not respected in the state of California. In many cases, they're not even informed when someone's been released from prison or is about to be released. And so they say we need more services for criminals. No. One thing that's quite offensive when they say, well, we're going to, take care of crime victims is look at this piece of legislation that they're proposing. It is, here we are, SB 1446. So this is part of their services that they want to provide to combat crime. What does SB 1446 do? It's sponsored by State Senator Smallwood Cuevas. SB 1446 punishes the crime victims. It requires that retail stores have to increase their staffing. It says here, it will minimize retail theft and workplace violence by ensuring there's a safe level of staffing in the retail store. You know what it is? Those retail stores, they are asking for criminals to come in and steal from them. They're inviting it. They're the ones to blame because they just don't have a bloated staff. The answer is hire more people, force businesses to increase their staffing, increase their costs. Who's going to pay for all those new staffers, sweetie? It's going to be you and me, the consumer. Any increased operating cost, whether it's theft or mandate from government to hire more staff, any increased cost will always be passed on to you and me in the form of increased prices. There's no free lunch, but the progressive Democrats say, oh, there's a freebie for everybody. Listen to me. I've really crapped the sheets. It's going to be fine. I have so much credibility. Just shut your mouth. Go sit in the back of the room. You have failed miserably. We don't need to listen to any more of your bat blank crazy ideas. We need to actually punish criminals, not punish businesses by saying it's your fault. It's like punishing the rape victim. Well, you were wearing an attractive dress. You had a little bit too much makeup on. I mean, come on. No, you're basically saying criminals are targeting stores because there's not enough staffing. Next part of that bill. Are you ready? This is the part where you get inconvenienced in addition to the high cost of bloated staffing in the store under this bill if it passes. Limit the number of items that customers can take through self-checkout lanes. Look, I kind of like the self-checkout lanes. Unless I have a bottle of wine or alcohol, that means I can't go through the self-checkout lane because technically you have to get your ID checked. I love the self-checkout lanes. Very convenient, lowers the cost for all. But this would say, no, sorry, there's only an approved list of things that you can buy here. The rest of you go stand in line. It's more of a burden. It's less convenient as a result. Oh, and by the way, you get rid of the self-checkout lanes. What has to happen at that point? More staffers have to be hired. You know what this is? SB 1446 is not about dealing with crime. Are you ready? You want to know the real dark money, sinister hand, the real BS special interest that's pushing this? It's the grocers union. Absolutely. The grocers union wants to force staffing ratios and staffing requirements and get rid of the self-checkout lines so that more union members have to be hired. And guess who gets a contribution from the grocers union? That's right, State Senator Smallwood Cuevas. Do you see how crappy bills actually come to fruition? Has nothing to do with what they say they're going to be trying to fix. In this case, this bill is a double whammy. Not only is it a bad bill on a policy basis, because it punishes the crime victim, it takes convenience out of your life, it increases your costs. But it's all about the money, honey. It's all about the campaign contributions that these Democrat politicians want from their union masters. The union boss says, I want you to write this bill, say it's about crime, but it's really about something the grocers union in the state of California has been fighting for years, and that is the automation trend, these self-checkout lines. It's insane. It's insane. Finally, it requires employers to provide worker and consumer impact assessments when automation is expanded and introduced into the workplace. Again, does this have anything to do with crime? No, it has everything to do with if you want to use technology because the Democrats have increased the cost of labor through a minimum wage hike or whatever, you have to do a special assessment and file a report with the state of California saying, here's the impact. And if you didn't do it right, we're going to fine you and tell you can't do it. So this is a bill that they claim is going to reduce crime. Look at the coalition here. It's called Smart Solutions, a broad coalition of organizations, concrete legislative solutions for public safety issues. No, it's a front for organized labor to stop automation in stores under the window dressing that they give a crap about criminal activity. And look at the gaggle of left-wing nonsense organizations here, all funded by the far left, all pro-criminal. The Anti-Recidivism Coalition, Californians for Safety and Justice, the Courage Campaign, Indivisible California. These groups are all far left-wing groups that support Prop 47, that support Prop 57, that disparage police officers and calling them racist and brutes who use too much force. These people have no legitimacy or credibility. They should be absolutely laughed out of the room. But the media, what did the media present? More services for crime victims and more services for the criminals. Now, it's a Job Preservation Act for a bunch of union goons. There's so much more to talk about. I want to give you this other story because it's just absurd. If you've ever seen in a city meter maids, they used to like walk and give tickets out, right? Then they said, oh, we don't want to walk, so give us little scooters. And I saw them on those little tiny scooters, golf carts. I used to serve on the San Diego City Council, so it was kind of funny to have to buy scooters for people who used to walk and do the job. So the scooters were running around for these people to be more efficient to give tickets. And I get the fact that a scooter can make someone more efficient, so fine. But now they don't want scooters anymore. No, they want the luxury of air conditioning. They want a Mustang. Oh, I'm not joking about this. It's in San Diego. They want to buy Mustangs that goes up to $65,390. And it's a 2023 Mustang Mach-E. It has 266 horsepower. Can reach 60 miles an hour from a dead stop in 6.3 seconds, has a top speed of 114 miles per hour, but by golly, the meter maids in the city of San Diego are being given Mustang cars to go drive around and write tickets. Oh, I am not making this crap up. Even the liberal, failing NBC San Diego outlet has this absurd story. Now, San Diego says, well, we got a discount. Instead of the $65,390 price tag, we got a car for $53,400. Each of them get a Mustang. Your tax dollars at work. And that means what? They got to write more tickets. Get out there. Chum, chum, chum. Get some more of that money. This is offensive. Whoever came up with this idea, terminate them today. And throw a couple of the politicians out who voted for this crap in the budget. By the way, they are looking at 31 Mustangs that they are going to be putting out on the road. They say that these are partially electric vehicles, so they think that it'll cost less to maintain than internal combustion engines. They always come up with a flimsy excuse that never, by the way, comes to fruition. EV vehicles have just as much maintenance as other vehicles as well. Look, at Reform California, we are fighting to restore some sort of sanity in California, both at the city level to boot politicians out who buy Mustangs for meter maids, as well as trying to change the composition of the state of California Assembly and State Senate to stop bad bills like the blaming of crime victims and the giveaways to the grocers union. We also are supporting Prop 47's repeal in the November election. This is important. If you go to our public safety page on reformcalifornia.org, you'll learn more. But we have a ballot measure coalition that's been formed of law enforcement, crime victim advocates, and just concerned citizens who all want to give tools back to police and prosecutors to go after criminals, to punish and arrest these criminals. But they can't do it unless we pass the repeal of Prop 47. I call it the Make Crime Illegal Again in California initiative. And so please go on the website, chip in a contribution of any amount so that we can get the word out and pass this initiative in the November election, on top of all the other campaigns that we're running to elect quality members to the state legislature, to maintain the House majority, to make sure that we can elect good school board members, city council members, county board members, sheriffs, district attorneys, and of course, our entire slate of ballot measures to stop bad tax hikes, preserve Prop 13, and of course, restore public safety. Chip in a contribution. We can't do this without your help. It requires that you get actively involved in the fight to take back our state. And we can do this, we can win this, but we're going to need your active participation. So go online to reformcalifornia.org and chip in a contribution so we can continue to lead these fights. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.